But I was disappointed and sorry to see that the protesters...
It's not complicated.
...protested to such an extent that we had to shut down our activity.
Oh, it's protested to such an extent that they actually disrupted something? It's almost as if that's the point of a protest, you know? Lately, the powers that be have largely been endorsing the genocide that has been going on over in the Gaza Strip. It's been really soul-crushing, to say the least, just watching people get absolutely steamrolled when they did nothing to deserve it. Women, men, children, all alike, just being flattened, frankly. It's really gross. And it's just kind of happening, you know? And the DNC, the Democratic Party in America, has pretty much been not just silent on it, but actively endorsing it, which is also quite disheartening. There are a few outliers, but for the most part, like I think Rashida Tlaib actually was recently censured, as it turns out, and was, you know, that censoring was voted on by some Democrats as well. So for the most part, the point is Democrats have just not been doing a good job of staying on the correct side of this issue. Joe Biden is disappointing right now, especially John Fetterman. My God, I can't stand that guy right now. It's just really, really disappointing. And we're going to continue the disappointment here because the Democratic Party chair in Sacramento decided that people were getting a little too noisy, a little bit too uppity about the whole genocide thing. You know, just a little bit too big for their britches, if you will. Like, you know, the U.S. is committing a genocide, you know, or Israel is, and the U.S. is endorsing it. So we might as well be committing it because Israel's basically our arm at this time. They're a spoiled child, essentially, that we never told they can't have what they want. So now they're just doing whatever the hell they want, completely unabashedly. This guy decided, you know what, these protesters, these damn anti-death protesters are just getting a little bit too uppity. So let's see what's going on.
Simply put, this is unacceptable.
On the last day of the California Democratic Convention, Chair Rusty Hicks addressed what unfolded here the night before.
The day concluded with a series of events that left me both saddened and disappointed.
Demonstrators flooded into the downtown Sacramento Convention Center, demanding a ceasefire in the Israel.
Good. We should do this more. This is acceptable. So I see a lot of people on Twitter right now saying, "I'm not voting for Joe Biden. I can't vote for Joe Biden in 2024 because he's supporting a genocide." And certainly, I'm not going to try to argue with those people right now because they're pretty unreachable. But this is IRL action. Okay, disrupting the DNC in their meeting in order to point out the fact that they are not, in fact, calling for a ceasefire is very good. This is very bad optically for the Democrats. It's extremely bad for them. But this is the way that you do it. If you want to get the message across that we're not going to stand for this shit, go out and actually make that happen.
Hamas war.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Two young security...
Yeah, so I've seen this. So they literally just stand in lines, and then the police will come and pepper spray and drag them across the floor.
Agents sustained minor injuries.
They do not fight back, ever.
And attendees, particularly our Jewish delegates and guests, were openly intimidated.
Really got to juice the fact that some people in the room happen to be Jewish.
And harassed.
We talked to delegates today about it who say the situation in Israel and Gaza
By the way, when they pull that whole, well, there are Jewish people here, so maybe don't say that we should stop the Israeli genocide bullshit. When they pull that, they're literally fanning the flames of anti-Semitism because all that says is to people like, no, the Jews actually do support the genocide. All the Jews support the genocide going over there, and you're being very hurtful to them by not supporting it with us. And that's bullshit. You are being the most anti-Semitic prick in the entire room right now, okay? Stop.
It's a challenging one.
Many people are being hurt and injured. It's such a complicated situation, but I was disappointed and sorry to see that the protesters...
It's not complicated.
...protested to such an extent that we had to shut down our activity.
Oh, it's protested to such an extent that they actually disrupted something. It's almost as if that's the point of a protest, you know? Protests are not just there to be pretty, to show people that, yeah, we have we're the freedom country. This is how protests are supposed to be done. You disrupt what's going on without hurting anybody, okay? It's a disruption, and it's a very good one. And maybe you should listen to them. They're your constituents. They're literally your constituents. These are the people you're in charge of. Listen to them.
They're really important in supporting democracy here in California and the U.S.
Others, like Sean Wiseman, say they were excited to see protesters taking center stage.
The issue in Gaza is so much bigger than this, and it had to take the forefront. for people's voices to be heard, for the party to re-examine its position.
He actually held up a sign in solidarity along with other delegates.
A large number of delegates, a lot of them also being Barbara Lee supporters.
You'll also notice it's mostly, like, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but notice how young he is compared to the guy who was speaking. He looks fresh out of college. He looks like he could be younger than me. And I'm not saying that derogatorily. I'm saying these old boomer like this guy, or whatever his name is, I don't even care. Worse hairline than mine, if you can believe it. These guys over 50 and 60 and whatever, it's just, they don't get it, man. They do not get it.
A large number of delegates, a lot of them also being Barbara Lee supporters.
U.S. Representative Barbara Lee, known for being the sole vote against the war.
Biden literally laughing at the notion of a ceasefire was super disappointing. Yeah, I didn't go over that specifically, but I did hear about it. It's just so gross, man. It's so disgusting. Like, if he could be any optically worse, he would, like, I don't know, he would just give up the presidency at that point.
In Afghanistan after the 9/11 terrorist attacks has called for a ceasefire in Gaza. She is up against U.S. Representatives Katie Porter and Adam Schiff for the U.S.
I know Katie Porter's really cool, but I don't know how she is on Israel-Palestine, so I can't comment on that.
Seat to replace the late Dianne Feinstein. Neither candidate got the party's
but I would be happy
endorsement
with Katie
at the convention,
Porter
though.
as well.
Because we have so many great candidates, we did not do an endorsement. The candidate would have to receive 60% of the vote here, and none of the candidates did that.
Lee and Schiff were the top two vote getters. Lee with about 41.5% and Schiff with just over 40%.
I don't know much about
As far
Adam
as
Schiff.
the disruption out here yesterday, the Democratic Party said today that it has already launched an investigation. In fact, that party chair says any delegate that participated in violation of the code of conduct will be held accountable.
Wow, so literally just saying that, like, you can't protest. That's cool. Thanks, DNC. Really standing up for liberty everywhere for Americans.
Live here in Sacramento,
Disgusting.
Lizzie Mitri, KCRA 3 News.
And Lizzie, have you heard anything from the Republican Party on this issue?
The Republican Party chairwoman did.
This is a violation of their free speech. Typically, I hold politicians to a higher standard, okay? And I say they're not allowed to say that because they're a politician. But standing with who was standing with the constituents here? Who was actually out here with the people, you know, listening to them and also endorsing their message? You know, who was listening to the people? It sure wasn't those old over here, you know, Grandma Ruthie over here and her trusty sidekick Bill, like, these guys don't give a shit about you. They don't care. They just want to go back to their $200,000 at least. Actually, these days it's probably more like $600,000 at least. Gigantic homes with pools and yards and 2.5 kids and a dog. Like, that's all they do. And then they come out here every once in a while to say some stupid bullshit or something.
The Republican Party chairwoman did release a statement basically calling this an embarrassment and an insult to the Jewish community.
Disgusting.
She criticized
the conservatives, famous for being very kind and charitable to the Jewish community, by the way.
Democratic chair also for waiting until today to make his comments to condemn what she called vile and dangerous protests.
How is it dangerous? What are they doing? They always say it's vile, it's dangerous. They're being so rambunctious, these kids in their protests, right? What did they do? They stood in a line and yelled. That's all they did. And what were they yelling for? Really? Like, ask yourselves, what were they asking for? A ceasefire. They're saying stop with the violence. Stop it. And they won't even, like, accept that. They won't listen. They're calling it an embarrassment. They say it's an embarrassment to sit out here and call for a ceasefire. They say it's a blight on the Jew, like an insult against the Jewish community. All of you. Disgusting, reprehensible, awful, vile pieces of shit. God damn. Kudos to this one dude. What's his name again? I want his name. Kudos to Barbara Lee, first of all. Absolute queen for actually standing up for something. And then kudos to Sean Weissman here, convention delegate. Another absolute king, risking his literal job for this. Okay? Remember their names. I sure as fuck won't. Like, I don't remember anybody's names, but I will remember their faces and what they did. So thank you guys for doing what you do, and keep standing up for keep fighting the good fight. And these other old I don't even want to know your names. I don't care. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. It's just very sad, and I wish I could do more. I really do. It's just something that the silver lining is that I do think the political zeitgeist is shifting in the direction of Palestine and supporting them and understanding that what Israel is doing is not okay. So all I can really hope is that it shifts hard enough that the Democrats are just, if they were to support Israel anymore, it would be completely indefensible and unthinkable, because what they're doing is equivalent to what Hitler did in Nazi Germany. It is. Like, it really truly is. It is exactly the same. Details aside, It is a genocide. So don't get it twisted. I do think the annals of history will look very poorly upon what the DNC and what anybody supporting Israel right now is doing. Just like we do for the Nazis now. Zionist will be equivalent to the word Nazi at some point. It will. So that's the silver lining, and that's all I can hope for. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.